Hi and welcome to this Kodu tutorial about making racing games. And the first thing to do when you create a racing game is create the track for it. And we're going to go to the paintbrush tool, and I find the circular brush works best for this. And we'll just kind of zoom out a touch. Now, some racing games go round and round, like a racetrack circuit, and do laps. Other racing games go from A to B, so they've got a kind of start and finish position, but they don't join up and go back to where you started, and that really works best for this style of racing game. So I'm just going to go quite slowly and create my track, and again, if you zoom out, it makes it easier sometimes. So you want a variety of straight sections and maybe more challenging corners and things like that. Then we'll have a long straight to finish there. Don't move too fast. Can you see there? It's kind of just left some gaps because I moved my mouse too quickly. So nice and slow. And remember, if you hold the space bar, you can turn an orbit and zoom in and zoom out. Now, later on, you might want to go back and widen some parts or even make some areas thinner, so it's a bit more challenging or indeed easier in places if it's tricky to get around the corners. But for now, we'll just keep it really simple. Obviously, you can also add hills and things like that, which we'll do in a little while, but for now, we'll just leave it at that. So let's choose this point here as the start of our track, which is the first bit we drew. And we're going to add a character to it to be our first human-controlled racing character. So you can pick any of the flying characters, they work quite well, or my personal favourite is the cycle character because he has a wheel and he speeds along very nicely. So let's zoom into him and we'll program him. Right click and program. His controls, his programming is very simple really. It's just going to be a case of telling it to move with the arrow keys, and we'll adjust his speed so he goes nice and quickly. So the keyboard we're going to choose when the keyboard is pressed, when the arrow keys are pressed, and we're going to just say move forwards, and we'll put quickly in, but we'll make him we'll adjust his speed with the settings as well, which we'll do right away. So right click, change settings, and you might need to experiment with these to get it the sort of right speed for your game, but let's go up to 4. Sometimes you can have it too fast. Let's have 3 for that one, and about 5 for that, I think, and up to about 3 for that as well. And if we just press play, we've now got the ability to drive around our track. So you can see and decide once you've given it a try whether you think the track's wide enough and if he's going around corners nicely or not. That's pretty good actually. And you could create some holes in the middle of your track and different paths, different options of which way to go, all sorts of different things you can do with your track to just make it a bit more fun and challenging. Now at the moment there's no one to race against, it's just me speeding around this maze, and even when I get to the end there's nothing to kind of finish the game off, but as a little test that works quite well. So let's go back and escape, and let's add something to race against. So another character, I'm going to put another wheeler in, another cycle, but we'll make him a different colour, so arrow keys to do that. Red for him. Go on, let's change this as well. Let's have blue for myself, and we'll put them both side by side for their starting positions. Now for the computer controlled character, we're going to tell it where to go by creating a path. And if you haven't seen that in any of the previous videos, to create a path, it's the icon here with the blue kind of nodes on, and left clicking then adds points, and that the computer will move along this path once we've programmed it to. So you can specify exactly where it goes, and you just need to be careful to avoid tight corners and make sure you sort of more or less stick to the middle of the track. For long straights you can stretch them out like that, save yourself some time. Sometimes zooming out makes this a bit easier. Also remember, if you hold the space bar, it goes to the hand move tool, which makes it a bit easier to kind of scroll and move around your maze. And you're going to need to work your way right around the whole track, plotting a path for it to follow. Now if you go wrong at any time, you can press escape to release yourself from the the path tool, or if you've added a point in the path that you don't want there, just right click it and you'll see the option to delete the path. If you accidentally break a path and you want to continue the path, it's kind of half done. If you go to the last node in the path and again right click it, you'll see the option to add more points to the path. Okay, nearly done. Let's round this last corner. And we can zoom down this last street. Just to somewhere at the end there. Okay, and then, because that's my last point, if I just press escape, you can see the whole path follows the whole maze there. So let's go back to our character. And we better program him now so he knows what to do. So if we right click him and program, I'm just going to leave the when because I always want him to just try and follow the path. So if we don't put anything in when, it will always do it. So we're going to just say move on a path, and again we can say quickly to him. Let's go in his settings as well just to make it a fair race. We'll adjust his forward speed and some of the other ones as well. You might need to just come back and change these a few times until you get a competitive race. You don't want it to be too easy or too hard. So let's just try that initially. So as soon as I press the play button or escape, it's going to go straight into the game and we're off driving. And he's following the path. I'm controlled with the keys. And I'm pulling away quite quickly and easily there, so that suggests to me that I need to probably adjust his speed because he's nowhere to be seen now. So it's going to be quite an easy win, which is nice to win, but games obviously don't have much challenge to them if it's too easy, so maybe take that up even higher. Okay, once you've created that path, you now need to have some way to win the game. So we're going to go to the end of our track. I'm going to place an object at the end, and it doesn't really matter what the object is. I'd quite like to use the castle for this one though. And we'll put that kind of on the last node there. And then back on our two characters. Everything about this game is fairly simple really, but we're going to go back to our character first and program him. And on the next row down, we're going to say when you bump the castle, which is in objects. And then the do is going to be in game, and it's going to be a win. It's as simple as that. All we're telling him to do is move, and if he bumps the castle, he wins. Now the only way to get to the castle is by getting around the whole track, obviously. So on our computer-controlled character, we'll program him too, and also when he bumps the castle. In this case, we're going to go back to game, but we're going to say end, which will say we've lost the game. So let's try that out. Oh, I nearly caught him and then I got stuck.